Hi, I'm Care Hart, and I'm going to show you how to do a Coptic Stitch Binding with greeting cards where you don't have a front or back cover unless you want to use one as a front or back cover, but where all these greeting cards are the same size just to make it easy. And I've gone ahead and drawn the lines, but all you need to do is have a popsicle stick that allows you to draw the lines evenly. So let me show you what I have first. So I have 5 greeting cards, 1 popsicle stick, an awl, a needle with an eye big enough for my wax thread, a binding clip, a Sharpie marker, and a pair of scissors. So the first thing I'm going to do is make sure that my largest card is in the back, second largest behind that, next one, and then next one, even though they're all about the same size. Ooh, that has a little mark, so I don't want that in the front. I'll put it like this. So they're all about the same size. Okay, what I want to do now is use my binding clip to hold it together. Nice and tight. You can do it on both sides if you want, but usually do it on just one. Then you want to take your Sharpie and your popsicle stick or pencil or whatever your marker or whatever it is that allows you to draw a nice line all the way on each one. Now, if you don't want to do it upright, you don't have to. I'm just trying to do it so it's easy for you to see. The key is, once you draw your line, you want to keep your cards in exactly the same order. Make sure that's in the right spot there. Draw the line there. And you can see that I've chosen to have 2 holes near the top and 2 holes near the bottom. Now, if you need a ruler, you can do that as well. Mine, I think I have this one at about 1 inch. I can measure it. Yep, look at that. So I have this line at about 1 inch, that one at about 2 inches. And then up from the bottom, this one, oh, it's a little bit more than 1 inch, but these two are about 1 inch apart. It does not have to be exact. You can see that it looks just fine with the little marks the way they are. And once you see it stitched, for those of you who need things exact, that's fine. You can measure and do it that way. But that's why I have the ruler out, just in case. Now you have your little marks, but you need to use these marks to help you put your holes in the little spots. So you can see my little dot there, and I use my awl to put a hole, and be aware of where your fingers are when you're using your awl. Keep them in the same order. These cards are a bit racy, so keep your eyes out of the inside of these cards. Now, if you find that you have one where it's hard to tell where that hole is, like your marker didn't go through, compare it to the one right next to it. And then put another mark there with your little marker and make sure that you're not using the front one or the back one, because the closer it is, the better it'll be for you. In this case, this one is delicate. So I already knew that it was delicate. Let me see if I can just get some washi tape for a simple spine repair, and then we'll draw the line again. And this might happen to you where you have a card that has a weak spine. So go in with my washi, come around the front. Now when I fold it back, crease the washi, turn it where the top is upright, and then again compare it to the one I have the holes next to it. Take my marker to these spots. It's a lot easier if I have something upright to hold it in place. If they were the same height. I hope that it comes across easy for me to see it. Yeah, I think so. I'll do the same thing here. Back in the day, I used to have these little tools that would bind the things together. Or hold it together, I shouldn't say bind it together. Find my little marks. And struggling to find this one. So an easy way to do it this way would be to take the card right next to it, and you can do it this way to get it all the same if you want to do it that way. So now that one should have all 4 holes. And on to the last one. Now you want enough wax thread for the number of cards you have. So I have 5. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you want to start with the bottom card. Now in my case, I probably could just take the wax thread right through, but it'll end up fraying. I love when wax thread has that lovely point. Okay. Now you're working at your bottom card on the bottom hole. So I'm going to call these holes, the top one is 1, the second one is 2, the third one is 3, and then the bottom one is 4. I'm going to go through hole 4 all the way till I get to the end of this. And you can either use washi tape, which isn't half bad, or you can use your binder clip, which is why I have the binder clip. But I'm going to use washi tape. And then, so you go in from the inside, and then from the outside back in, you want to go into the same hole. Why? Because I want these to lay flat. Okay, so you go out and then into the same hole. Then you want to leave yourself a little bit of a loop. Okay, so leave that loop and then do the same thing for the next 2 holes. So you want to go all the way out. Make sure you didn't give yourself There we go. And you're pulling it through. And this one will lay flat. And you still have your itty bitty loop right here. Do you see your loop? This one right there. Well, I'm going to use my awl to do the same thing here with my loop. So I'll go back in and leave myself an itty bitty loop. See how my awl has both loops there, and I can pull it out. Now, if you're worried about losing your loops, which I am, then you just take your washi tape and again, tape it down. Now, if you have a delicate card on the inside, you probably don't want to freely use your washi tape like this. Let's do it this way, because this is going to have to go all the way up and into the next one. We go in. And it's nice and smooth here. You still have 2 loops there, and you want to have 1 loop up top. So I'm pulling it back through. And now, as you can see, I have a loop at the top. It's supposed to be a loop. It's pretending to be a loop. There you go. Nice little loop here, here, and there. Make sure you can see that it's a loop. Now, when I go out of the top one, I'm not making a loop. I just go out of the top one. And if you're nervous about accidentally pulling it through, don't be afraid of the washi. Right? So I've got my washi again. Unless, you know, you've tested a small area of your card or whatever you're working with. But it's a good way to not lose your loops when you get through there. And if it needs to be tightened, you can tighten it when you get back to the bottom one. So now you take, and you see that I have this flipped from bottom to top there, and it's easy to see which side is the back side of the card. Well, now I'm going to take my needle and just go through the top hole. That's it. Now, I'm afraid of pulling too tight. I don't want it too tight. But now I've gone into the top hole of my, how many do I have? Of my 4th card. 5th card is on the bottom. I'm working on the 4th card. So now I'm on the inside, going out in hole number 2. Inside, going outside in hole number 2. And you see that I have this loop down on the bottom. Then I want to go into the loop on the bottom on card 5, that loop we left earlier. And back into my hole in card 4, the hole you just came out of. And this one, you can pull and make it nice and tight because you're not going to worry about it now. Now I'm going to go down to hole 3 in card 4, from the inside of my card to the outside. Pull my string tight. And I'm going to go through hole 3 and card 5. But not the whole hole, just the loop. So you see that loop we left ourselves? We're going to go through the loop and back into hole 3. Watch your fingers when you do that. And then you're going to pull it through. Okay, you don't mind this getting a little tight. You want to pull it, and when you're pulling it, you're not pulling it up, you're pulling it towards your body, towards the bottom of the card in that corner here. So you just tug it that way. So then I want to go into hole 4 on card 4. Yep. And now that I'm on the outside in hole 4, I want to go through that original loop, that very first loop we made, and then back into hole 4, card 4. Oh wait, I lied. I lied. We're going to go into hole 4, card 3. So I'm opening this hole. Hole 4, card 3, from the outside to the inside. Okay, that's what it's looking like so far. And then I want to go into hole 3, card 3, from the inside to the outside. And I can see that that's a delicate hole right here, so give me some washi repair. If you're using this to make an art journal, you do not mind these things. Save that washi for later. Now here you are going to go in between card 4 and 5, okay? And I want to show you this as best I can. So you have this section right here, and this is where the 4th hole would line up, and now I'm where the 3rd hole would line up. You want to go open it up there. This is card 5. This one with the washi tape is card 4. I want to go in between them to the right, back up in between on the left. Okay, so I'm going to do that one more time, and then I'm going to tell you descriptively how I'm going through it. So I just came out of hole 3 on card 3. Okay, and what I want to do is go to the right of the string that is connected to hole 3 between cards 4 and 5. So I want to go to the right of that string and down, and then I want to come back up in between the string on these 2 holes. Do you see that? In between the string between holes 3 and 4, I want to come back up and then into my 3rd hole. Okay, let's go into the 3rd hole. And essentially what you're doing is you're just connecting the pages together. If I can get myself back into the hole. There we go. Then you want to go to hole 2 up at the top here. And the good news is we get to do this quite a few times. Okay, I can see that this is also a weak card. So give me a second. This is great on thicker paper. This works really well on mixed media paper. But it will be fine. We can do all of our little repairs as we go, because this is going to be a junk journal for me. All right. So I'm coming out of that hole. What are we going to do? I'm going to go in between cards 4 and 5, the last 2 cards. So you can see this is card 3. This one is card 4. That's card 5. I want to go to the right of the string down to the inside of the 2 cards. And then I want to go to the left of that same string, essentially just looping around the string and coming back up and into hole 2 that you just came out of. Okay, and you can make it tight or try to. There you go. It's in tight right there. And now I'm going to go into the top hole, hole 1 of card 3. Nothing fancy here except to say I am going to go down between cards 4 and 5 to the right, which is wide open here, to the right of the string for hole 1, and then come back up and through for the left of the string. But now I'm going to loop it into card 2 at the top hole. Go into card 2, the second hole. Tighten the string. Now your loop this time is going to be just in the 2 cards behind it. So if we're in card 2, I'm going to open this up like this. So there should be, right now, there should be 2 cards on this side and 2 cards on this side. Okay. So I open it back up and I want to go to the right of the string. Come back up to the left of the string for hole 2, the strings that are going into that hole. And then I want to go back into hole 2, open it back up, and come out. Give it a little tug and do the same thing down for hole 3. And yes, I know I'm explaining this over and over again. After you do this a couple times, you'll realize the Coptic stitch is pretty easy, and it allows you to do some single signatures that lay very flat, especially if you're doing an art journal. And so I just looped it around that card. And you'll notice that I have my fingers. This is card 5. This is card 4, and I have my fingers in here that allows me to loop it around. So card 3 and 2, this is where I was looping around that string. And I'm going to open, back up. And yes, I know, that's a little confusing. Try this one more time. So we're going to go out of hole 4. I always say one more time when I have a whole bunch more times. Out of hole 4. And what are we going to do? We are just going to wrap it around. You can't wrap it here because there's really nothing here to wrap it. So you want to go to the next card and wrap it between cards, in this case, 3 and 4. Loop it back around. And now we're going to come into the bottom of our card 1. Now you can see that there's a little tear right here. So we're going to do some washi repairs. Oops, from the outside to the inside. My goodness. And now we're going to go into hole 3. Card 1. Hold that nice and tight. And you see in card 1, there is not something for me to loop. So I want to go to card 2. And the easiest way to do it is to just put your fingers behind card 2 and go into this opening here. So to the right of the opening, down and through, so you can see it's in between here. And when I say to the right, you can say towards the top of the card. And now this is where all your strings are, in between. And towards the bottom of the card, I'm going to just pull it back around and come back in, tighten it up a little bit. And I realize this is kind of loose, so I want to just pull this here. And then come back into hole 3 that we came out of in the first card. You can see that this definitely has some washy repairs happening. I know you guys are saying, why are you doing this with old cards? Well, that's because that's how I felt like doing it, and I thought it'd be fun to have some racy cards. There we go. Now I'm going to go up and through hole 2 from the inside to the outside. And now, like I said, you can put your finger through here, but you can't put your finger through the next one. That's how you know you need to be behind that one. So I'm going to go to card 2, find the open space, flip it open, and then go down and in between. The reason I think cards are the easiest way to learn on a Coptic stitch is because it's easier to talk about which cards are which. So I'm going to the right of where the stitch is, up and behind. So now at this point, I come up and through here and then back into hole 2. Now when you finish this off, you want to have it nice and clean where you don't have it open between these 2 cards. So you still have to go through the top hole of card 1. You still have to go in between cards 2 and 3. From the front side of that string. To the back side of the string. And then back into hole 1 of card 1. Now, if I don't have you thoroughly confused, you can watch this a bunch of times to get the gist of how to put it together. Now I want to tighten my threads just a little bit. It's right here. And then I can tie it off simply by going around the hole to the bottom, just like you would tie off something else, right? Use your scissors, trim the excess, or if you don't want to trim the excess, you can use it as a bookmark if you'd like. But I do want to trim the excess. And now what you have is a Coptic stitch. So if I flip through all of the cards, they all lay flat. They would be amazing as a journal if you're going to use it as an art journal. Now you're back to your last bits, right? So you're like, oh no, I didn't finish. Well, you're about to. So I just pull this tight. I pull down here to get it nice and tight there. Oh, that's a little bit loose. I'm not going to worry about it. And then I pull this tight. It broke. Oh, don't pull it that tight. You guys, that is funny. Just imagine that I didn't pull it that tight. Now it's going to come all undone. I would have the opportunity to do another one, but it's probably got a nice knot anyway. But here's what you do. Just pretend it's here. Okay. And you loop around and you just tie it through. Okay. Over, under, under, over, and you get a nice square knot. And then you trim it off. Hopefully that keeps it nice and safe from coming out. And there's your Coptic stitch. Some people don't like the way a Coptic stitch wiggles, which is why I obsessed over nice tightness. It wiggles more when you have a cover. If you don't have a cover, it wiggles less. And then when you flip through, you have a nice flat every single page. Do you see how flat every single page lays? So now this becomes a fabulous way to A, store your cards if that's how you wanted to do it, or B, this becomes your new art journal because cards are fun to doodle on. So thank you for watching. Love and hugs. Take care.